girlfriend Kate Cassidy has revealed that they were planning to get married before the One Direction star's tragic death.
It used to be pretty challenging for me, so I'm really trying to make the most of everything.
Liam Payne's girlfriend, Kate Cassidy, is done with y'all trying to drag her through the mud in probably one of the most difficult times of her life. No, seriously, how heartless can people be? Instead of mourning a tragic loss, the internet is busy pointing fingers at Kate Cassidy, turning her into a scapegoat for a tragedy she had no control over. The lack of empathy is unreal, y'all, and what's even crazier is that people are going to wild lengths just to troll her. If anything, the truth is finally coming out, and if this new information is true, then poor Kate Cassidy deserves a lot of respect and grace for the way that she has been handling things throughout their 2-year relationship. This is such a mess, and we've got to talk about it.
Liam, get in here.
It is honestly shocking how fast people can turn grief into a blame game. Since Liam Payne's tragic passing, his girlfriend Kate Cassidy has been hit with some harsh and totally baseless accusations. Instead of showing her any sympathy, trolls are out here painting her as the villain in a story where she too is struggling to cope with the heartbreaking loss of someone she loved. Since the day Liam Payne tragically lost his life in Argentina, Kate Cassidy has been under a very harsh spotlight. And the minute she was first seen out in public following the incident, many fans went straight into judgment mode, picking apart her every move. Some even claimed she looked guilty or unremorseful, as if grieving someone you loved has a strict, visible script you must follow. Anyways, so Kate broke her silence in an emotional post on Instagram saying, "Thank you for all of the kind words and love that you've sent my way. I've been at a complete loss the last few days, haven't felt real at all. I ask and pray that you'll give me the grace and space to navigate this in private. Liam, my angel, you are everything. I want you to know I loved you unconditionally and completely. I will continue to love you for the rest of my life. I love you, Liam." Yet, despite her plea for space to grieve, the internet showed her no mercy. Comments began flooding in with accusations that Kate had left Liam when he needed her most, as if her absence somehow made her responsible for his death. What's worse is how people have twisted the timeline of events to fit their narrative. Remember Kate returned to Florida just 2 days before Liam's death, leaving him in Buenos Aires? Believe it or not, that alone has been enough for some to insinuate that she was directly involved, or that her decision to leave somehow contributed to his tragic passing. Fans have gone as far as accusing her of abandoning him in a time of need.
Travel from South America back to Florida with me. I was so ready to leave. Honestly, loved South America, but I hate staying in one place for too long, and we were supposed to be there for like 5 days, turned into 2 weeks, and I was just like, I need to go home.
When I tell you the comments are cruel, I mean every sense of the word. Some people are saying she shouldn't have left him, knowing too well that he was going through so much and that she just didn't care. But it gets worse because someone dead said, honestly, it seems like Liam went for these girls with not much to offer but looks. So now it's even a crime for Kate to be beautiful, and for some reason, that was all Kate ever was to Liam. It's like one of the last videos they took together. Y'all can see they were in a good place. Nothing seems off here.
Yeah, so it's going to be a nice day. And then you're going home. Ha ha, loser, weirdo.
I'm headed back to Florida with Nala.
Yeah.
Please be in Kate's shoes for a minute. Imagine going on a 5-day vacation with your partner, but he ends up wishing to stay a little bit longer. So, as a supportive partner, you decide to stick around a little longer, and before you know it, 5 days turns into 2 weeks. It's only natural that you eventually up and leave, which is exactly what Kate did. I mean, she has a life of her own, and she had a life before she became known as Liam's girlfriend. Kate is an influencer and probably had some work to do. If anything, the people bashing Kate should probably learn that your life shouldn't stop just because you're dating a wealthy person who can afford to be on vacation for the whole year. Ugh. Give the girl a break. They had actually had a blast during their trip and even attended Niall Horan's concert together. Literally just celebrating life and love. These people had been together for 2 years, and all we've ever seen are beautiful photos and videos of a happy, drama-free, wholesome couple. Kate even shared playful moments of their time in Argentina, reflecting the joy they found in each other's company, and their fans have always loved the fact that even though they are a big deal, they have always been super relatable. But now, those memories memories are buried under nonstop online attacks against her. Contrary to many people's opinions, just as many others don't believe that Kate's decision to leave Argentina was some form of neglect. According to Kate, they had extended their trip far beyond their initial plans, and she was ready to return home. The fact that she left 2 days earlier wasn't some grand betrayal, and it most definitely was not shady. Now, let's talk about the latest pics of Kate where haters are saying she looks guilty and homeless. Kate was recently spotted in Florida looking emotionally exhausted, out in casual clothes with no makeup on, which for starters is a super unusual sight for someone who is used to always looking polished in front of the camera. And yet, instead of seeing a grieving woman, trolls criticized her for not looking sad enough, as if grief had a dress code. Also guys, is it just me, or is this the realest representation of a grieving person? If anything, it would have looked more sus had she been out here all glammed up, going about her day as if nothing happened. But these images literally prove that she is indeed a shell of herself right now and wouldn't care so much as to comb her hair. That's exactly what grief does to people. This should be common sense, but for some twisted reason, a lot of people apparently don't get that grief is messy, and just because someone stepped out in public doesn't mean that they aren't hurting inside. It's wild how far these baseless accusations have gone. Word is that even Kate's friends have come forward expressing how devastated she is by Liam's passing. One friend apparently even mentioned that Liam had begged her to stay with him in Argentina a little longer, but after extending her stay by 2 weeks, she needed to go back home, which is a decision that anyone might have made in the moment. So why exactly is Kate being condemned? Make it make sense. All right, moving on to even more troubling matters, and this is something that once again will prove that Kate Cassidy deserves more respect for how she handled things with Liam, and more respect than y'all are giving her. Another shocking layer to this story emerged when it was revealed that 2 women were in Liam's hotel room hours before his death. These women were reportedly adult workers whom Liam had met through an escort site. So you can only imagine what was going on in there. In fact, one of them allegedly even got into a fight with Liam over payment issues, and it looks like they did some monkey business, but for some reason, Liam didn't pay up as they had agreed. So earlier in the day, before the jump, there was already commotion in the room. At first, people thought that the women were in the room when the accident happened, but apparently they availed themselves to the cops, and it has been established that they left immediately after Liam paid, and that he was actually alone when he started breaking stuff in the room, and then went to the balcony for the final act. The investigators concluded that Liam was alone at the time of the accident, and that there was no foul play whatsoever.
Liam Payne spent time with 2 workers, Aldana Milagros Serrano and Lucila Marianela Goitea, just hours before his tragic death. The women met Payne through an escort website and were with him at his Buenos Aires hotel, where they drank alcohol before leaving after a payment dispute. Witnesses reported Payne was upset and agitated in his final hours, pacing and arguing about money. A 911 call later revealed Payne had overindulged in drugs and alcohol before his fatal fall from a hotel balcony. Drugs found in Liam Payne's system, including pink cocaine, crack cocaine, and methamphetamine, are linked to his tragic fall from a Buenos Aires hotel balcony. Authorities discovered drugs, alcohol, and smashed furniture in his room, suggesting a substance-induced breakdown before his death. Investigators have ruled out foul play and are now probing who supplied the drugs. Fans and the music world are mourning Payne's loss as his family arranges for his body to be repatriated to the UK.
Test results shedding more light on the death of former One Direction singer Liam Payne.
TMZ reports toxicology results show Payne had something called pink cocaine in his system when he died. That's a mix of cocaine and crack. He also had an Argentine version of methamphetamine. Police also found alcohol, various prescription medications in his room. Payne died earlier this month when he plunged off a third-floor balcony at his hotel in Buenos Aires.
It's a cocktail of drugs, and that's what makes it really dangerous. It's not standardized, so you don't really know what you're getting. It has no cocaine in it per se, but it has a combination of other drugs. Some of the common ones include methamphetamine, which is a stimulant or upper, but also 2 hallucinogenic like ketamine, famous for implicated in Matthew Perry's death, and of course ecstasy or MDMA. Both of those, ketamine and MDMA, can make you see things when they're not there, or feel things. They're hallucinogenic, and ketamine in high doses can make you unconscious.
Talk to me more about the makeup of pink cocaine. So you say you don't exactly know what's going to be in each batch. How much of a difference could there be depending on your geography or depending on simply which batch you get?
A huge difference. There's a huge difference in price. There's a huge difference in the components. Had its origins in the 70s, but didn't really pick up until 2010 in Colombia. And from South America, it made its way to Europe and now mainly to New York City. And that's what we're seeing it, very unstandardized. And I think the most concerning thing to a lot of substance abuse experts is that they've seen more introduction of more addictive drugs, like fentanyl. And if you have more fentanyl, of course, it's not only addictive, but very small amounts can instantly kill you.
I think the pink part of this is part of what's fascinating people about this drug. Could there be a chemical reason for its coloring? Why is it pink? Is it likely just for aesthetic effect?
Yeah, it's just really for marketing and to distinguish itself from other drugs in the market. It's
a lovely day here.
Either red food coloring or even strawberry dye. So I think there are a lot of
where Liam Payne died after falling off a third
products
floor
people
balcony.
can use, but the uniform thing is that it's all pink and it's easily identifiable as a brand.
Singing his songs in mourning.
I can't explain how I'm feeling right now. I'm shaking.
As questions swirl over the circumstances of his death, with reports saying Payne had been acting aggressively and erratically in the hotel's lobby moments before the tragedy. Audio obtained by the Associated Press revealing this 911 call before his death by the hotel manager, speaking in Spanish.
Tenemos un huésped que está sobrepasado de droga y alcohol. Cuando está consciente, está rompiendo toda la habitación.
The manager then saying he was scared for the guest's life.
Y necesitamos que nos envíen a alguien urgente porque, yo no sé si corre riesgo la vida del huésped. Está en una habitación que tiene balcón y estamos un poco con temor de que haga algo que le ponga en riesgo su vida.
Morning, everybody.
Payne had been in Argentina since early October when he attended a concert of former One Direction bandmate Niall Horan, sharing this photo of the two. In Snapchat photos and videos posted in the hours before his fall, he wondered about dressing as Forrest Gump for Halloween. He also shared this final photo with girlfriend Kate Cassidy. The photo was actually taken a year earlier. Cassidy was with Payne on the trip, but had returned to the United States a few days earlier. Payne leaves behind one 7-year-old son, Bear.
And that image just haunting of him looking up at the billboard of his father. Now, authorities in Argentina are investigating the circumstances of his death and conducting an autopsy. This tragedy is prompting a tidal wave of grief, and along with it, a lot of soul-searching questions.
A memorial for singer Liam Payne is taking place in Hyde Park in London this afternoon, organised by One Direction fans. The 31-year-old was found dead in Argentina on Wednesday afternoon after falling from the balcony of his third-floor hotel room. And these pictures live into us, as you can see, hundreds, if not possibly thousands of people gathering to pay tribute. Our correspondent Alice Porter is there for us. Alice.
Devastating video showed Liam Payne comparing tattoos and talking with his fans outside his hotel just days before his tragic death. The One Direction star died after falling from the third floor of his hotel yesterday, leaving his fans in shock. Liam took time to make his fans' dream come true earlier in the week by posing for pictures, signing autographs and listening to their stories. One fan credited Liam with saving my life and grew emotional meeting his hero. It prompted Liam to give the man a hug before they compared matching arrow tattoos on their arm. In another clip, Liam sang in Spanish to a female fan after she asked him if he'd been listening to any of the locals' music. There was also a montage of the smiling pop star meeting and greeting supporters, some of who mirrored his smile while others broke down in tears. A 911 call was made by a frantic hotel manager requesting urgent assistance before Liam died. He was staying at the Hotel Casa Sur in the neighbourhood of Palermo, where crowds of fans flocked to pay their respects as the news of the singer's death spread.
Está en una habitación que tiene balcón y, estamos un poco con temor de que haga algo que le ponga en riesgo su vida.
What you see here is one of the last videos posted by Liam Payne right before he tragically died at the age of 31.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a little video of me. It's rude to put hats on a table.
Sorry.
Is this your hat?
Yeah.
Children. It's a lovely day here in Argentina. This is the breakfast table.
I'm just eating an orange.
Just enjoying coffee and breakfast, even though it's like 1 p.m.
Literally, we sleep in every day until at least 12. We're such losers.
No.
No.
Liam Payne's cause of death has been revealed. An early autopsy saying among Liam's 25 injuries, his severe head trauma alone was enough to kill the 31-year-old singer, who plummeted 3 stories from his hotel balcony on Wednesday in Buenos Aires.
Y necesitamos que nos envíen a alguien urgente porque, bueno, yo no sé si corre riesgo la vida del huésped. Está en una habitación que tiene balcón y, bueno, estamos un poco con temor de que haga algo.
Paramedics pronounced Liam dead at the scene. It's unknown if he was with anyone before his 45-foot fall, which police also haven't confirmed to be intentional or accidental. But we know investigators are not leaning towards foul play. And the 911 call from Liam's hotel hinted at a chaotic scene.
The hotel guests, on the other hand, told the cops that there was so much noise in Liam's room that they thought there was construction work going on in there. Yeah, it was that bad.
A hotel guest reportedly heard violent noises and a scream from inside Liam Payne's room before he fell to his death. The pop star fell from his 3rd-floor balcony in Argentina and died from his injuries on Wednesday afternoon. Fellow guest Doug Jones told the BBC, "I thought they were working on the room. There was a lot of noise, like heavy lifting, like banging, and a lot of loud, violent noises, I thought. And I saw hotel people going in and out of that room, so I thought they were doing work on the room. So about 4 p.m, 4:30 p.m, I started hearing some more noise. I was still doing work, and I heard a really loud, violent scream around 4:45, 5 p.m. Doug realized something was wrong when he later saw a road full of cops. Cops probing his death have reportedly spoken with 2 key witnesses who may have been the last people to see him alive. Argentina's prosecutor's office said 2 women who were allegedly with Liam the night before his untimely death have now provided statements. While police haven't given any indication that they were involved in the death, the women could help determine what happened in the hours before.
And another thing, it's the same Kate being trolled that stood with Liam even as his ex-girlfriend Maya was fragging him through the mud and even issued a cease and desist towards him. Maya Henry said that Liam would go MIA for some time and then out of the blue just start blowing up her phone with crazy messages, sometimes even threatening to unalive himself if she didn't pick up.
He would always message me ever since we broke up, like, oh, I'm not well. He would always play with death and be like, well, I'm gonna die. I'm not doing well.
Not only that, there are still a couple of factors to consider, guys. It's being said that Liam's PR team resigned in early October, and his label dropped him a couple of days before he passed, probably due to poor album sales or his struggles with the bottle, which made him inconsistent in the studio. He had some visa renewal issues, and the greatest monster of all, him being so erratic that people next door thought his room was under construction. Guys, be honest, Kate Cassidy held Liam down through all of these. If not more, there is definitely more. And Kate has even eulogized Liam in the most beautiful way, even after learning that her partner of 2 years was in contact with escorts. And then the world turns around to start trolling this poor lady because, according to them, she should have stayed for as long as Liam wanted her to. People literally think that Kate was supposed to nod in agreement even if Liam said that they should start a new life in Argentina. Unbelievable. Oh, and one more thing. Remember, all One Direction members' careers took off pretty well. And then there was Liam even attending Niall's jam-packed concert, but just as a spectator. As someone who was already struggling mentally and then his record label dropping him shortly after seeing his former bandmate thriving, it's obvious that these things took a toll on Liam in ways that even online hecklers cannot begin to describe. And yet, even with all of these, trolls continue to drag Kate's name through the mud, accusing her of betrayal and worse. You see, what people don't get is that grief isn't some act that you put on. Kate is mourning her partner's premature death and is possibly mad at him for the whole escort situation. And on top of that, at least a part of her is guilty for leaving, and she is obviously asking herself a lot of what ifs. It is a cruel reality that no one should have to face, let alone under public scrutiny. If anyone has truly honored Liam's memory, it's Kate Cassidy. Her social media is full of clips showing their best moments, and she's never shown anything but love towards him. Remember, Liam also moved in with her in Florida, likely because he needed someone to keep him grounded, because clearly being alone often made him spiral. Let us not forget that there were reports of him being kicked out of his first hotel for erratic behavior and disturbing other guests while under the influence, so you can only imagine what Kate dealt with over those 2 years. Kate has been through Liam's ups and downs firsthand, yet she's always kept it classy, only sharing the beautiful moments. You would never guess that he was struggling just by looking at their posts, and that is how much she protected his image. In contrast, Liam's ex, Maya Henry, even wrote a book detailing the alleged mistreatment she faced with him, including a shocking claim that he forced her to end a pregnancy.
Did you know that Liam Payne's ex-girlfriend Maya Henry has just released a book allegedly based on their relationship, and there is a lot of dark stuff in there. The book is called Looking Forward, and it's not even subtle, the references to Liam Payne that are even on the cover. Like, if you look at the guitar, it says 5F, which is like a variation of 1D, One Direction. This sign says James Street, and James is Liam Payne's middle name. And in the book, the main character, Mallory, is pressured by her boyfriend to have an abortion. Maya actually told People.com, if it were up to me, I wouldn't have done it. But then also, if I were to have made a different decision, then I would have lost the person that I loved. Which obviously then implies that Liam said that if she were to keep the baby, then he would leave her, or they'd split. And in the book, Maya Henry's character is encouraged by her partner's team to not seek treatment for hemorrhaging in the hospital for fear of being spotted in public and word getting out. Because the plotline of the book is about a girl that falls for a charming pop star. This book doesn't paint Liam in a very good light at all, especially because when they split in 2022, allegedly it was because he cheated on her. Supposedly it only came out because a Liam Payne fan page uploaded a picture of Liam and a girl, but the fans thought it was Maya, so they were tagging Maya, but then Maya commented saying, I love all the fans so much, but please stop sending me these pictures of my fiance wrapped around another woman. This is not me, and it's hard enough knowing this has happened without saying it. Enough now. Let me know if you guys are going to read the book.
The Liam Maya exposed is a world away from the Liam Kate stood by and loved. The truth is, neither of these women caused Liam's downfall. He had his battles, but Kate Cassidy wasn't one of them. Say what you want, but Kate is nothing but pure class, and leaving Liam Payne behind after a 5-day trip turned into 14 days just goes to show how she went to the ends of the world for her man. The only good news so far is that a lot of people are in Kate's shoes and are sending her so much love, light, and hugs. She needs them. Instead of spreading unfounded blame, the public should at least show some compassion. Kate is clearly devastated by Liam's passing. She has expressed her heartbreak, asked for privacy, and is now trying to process the unimaginable loss of someone she loved. It would be great if people honored her wishes to allow her the space to heal. It is neither the time to troll nor dig up details to fit their own twisted narratives. Some people forget that behind the headlines and social media comments, there is a real person grieving. I don't know about y'all guys, but Kate is the hero here, not the villain. What do you think about the way Kate Cassidy has been treated in the aftermath of Liam's death? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want to know just how much Liam was in a dark place for years, the love, the brotherhood, the bond, it's all been shattered. One Direction's heartfelt tributes to Liam Payne in the last few days has left fans broken. They've lost a brother, a part of them, and now chilling details about Liam's final moments are coming to light, including disturbing footage of his room, which was in complete disarray, just as the distress call suggested. But here's where things take a turn. Just 2 days before this tragedy, Liam's ex-girlfriend slapped him with a lawsuit. Now, we are not saying that this lawsuit had anything to do with Liam's demise, but once you get the details, then you'll understand how it would have contributed to his mental state, which wasn't in the best state to begin with. And if we look back at Liam's recent videos, it's painfully clear the signs were there all along. He was crying out for help. There is a lot to unpack here, guys, so without any further ado, let's get right into it. Tributes are pouring in from all over the world to the fallen star Liam. On top of the list being his former bandmates saying they are completely devastated about the passing of one of their own. In a statement signed by Louis Tomlinson, Zayn Malik, Niall Horan, and Harry Styles, they said, "In time and when everyone is able to, there will be more to say." This news has hit them hard as no words can express such a loss house for that reason. The boy band has asked for privacy as they take time to mourn their brother. Nonetheless, they have all individually eulogized Liam in the most profound ways they could. Harry Styles took to Instagram where he shared a photo of him and Liam and remembered Liam as someone who lived wide open with his heart on his sleeve. The years we spent together will forever remain among the most cherished of my life. I will miss him always, my lovely friend. Fellow band members Louis Tomlinson left for Liam's son. He thanked Liam for being the brother he never had. Reminiscing on all of the thousands of amazing memories we had together is a luxury I thought I'd have with you for life, he wrote. I want to tell you that if Bear ever needs me, I will be the uncle he needs in his life and tell him stories of how amazing his dad was. Niall Horan must be so shook right now because he was literally with Liam and had been spotted in Argentina attending a concert of former One Direction bandmate. It's honestly just a devastating time for all of them right now. Another person who without a doubt has been affected by this news has to be Simon Cowell. If you didn't know, Simon was the one who formed One Direction on X Factor. He also paid a heartfelt tribute to Liam Payne. In honor of Liam, Simon has paused filming for ITV's Britain's Got Talent, showing how deeply the news has impacted him. As One Direction's first manager, Cowell has always been close to the group, and his tribute reflected the emotional bond he still shares with the members. In other news, police have given more updates regarding the incident after taking a closer inspection of Liam's hotel room. Remember minutes before the balcony fall, hotel staff alerted emergency services, reporting in a 911 call that the singer had been trashing the room. A day after the tragic fall, law enforcement investigated Liam's room and found prescription drug clonazepam, energy supplements, and other over-the-counter medications scattered throughout the space, along with various items broken, including a smashed television. They also found a whiskey bottle, lighter, and cell phone, which were later recovered from the hotel's internal courtyard, where Payne's body was discovered. Authorities collected fingerprints, a notebook, his passport, and other evidence for lab analysis. The balcony area was also inspected to determine access points, and with these, the cops have given an update on the matter, even as further probing continues. They have said that so far everything indicates that the musician was alone when the fall happened, and that there were no injuries that suggested a third party had been involved. In the meantime, they have confirmed that the state of Liam's room backed up the claims that he was heavily intoxicated and was being erratic. According to a preliminary autopsy report, Payne died from multiple injuries and internal and external hemorrhages caused by the fall. However, while many have been paying their respects to Liam, it is now being revealed that not everything was peaceful in his personal life. In fact, reports are surfacing that just 2 days before his tragic passing, one of his ex-girlfriends had taken legal action against him. As I had cautioned earlier, the relationship between Liam and his ex is not to blame for the way that things turned out in his last moments. But you just get the story and be the judge. Turns out the relationship between Liam Payne and his ex-fiancée, Maya Henry, was far from over, even after their official split in 2022. In fact, just days before his tragic passing, things had escalated to a legal battle. According to reports, Maya issued a cease and desist letter, pointing to some deeply concerning behavior from Liam. Both Maya and the sources close to the situation revealed that Liam had been contacting her non-stop, leaving Maya feeling overwhelmed and trapped. Maya said that despite their breakup, Liam would frequently blow up her phone with messages, switch phone numbers, and even blow up his own mother's phone trying to reach her. Maya, who has remained silent following Liam's passing, had spoken out before about the toll this constant contact was taking on her. It was so bad that she expressed her frustration, saying that every time she saw a new message, she'd literally know who it was from, and her guess was always right. It seems this situation had only gotten worse with time, leading her to take legal action just 2 days before Liam's death. Adding another layer to the already complex relationship, Maya wrote a novel titled Looking Forward, released earlier this year, which painted a picture eerily similar to her real-life romance with Liam. The book, though fictional, featured a character named Oliver, a boy band member struggling with substance abuse. Sound familiar? The parallels between the character Oliver and Liam were hard to ignore, especially as Maya opened up about her personal trauma, including an abortion she had during their relationship. She admitted in interviews that while the book was fiction, many scenes were inspired by her actual experiences with Liam. Even though they had been broken up for over a year, the tension between them was undeniable. Maya had exposed some toxic patterns in Liam's behavior, claiming that he had made sexist remarks, and she feared for the environment his current girlfriend was living in. It's clear that unresolved issues and painful memories were still lingering for both of them. To make matters worse, remember Liam's current girlfriend, Katie Cassidy, left him behind in Argentina, and she couldn't stay any longer. She explained that the trip was supposed to last only 5 days, but Liam wasn't keen to leave, so 2 weeks later, she couldn't take it anymore, and that's when she decided to leave him behind. Kate did not specify why Liam had not accompanied her back home to Florida though, but evidently he had had a breakdown just a few days after being left alone, and being that he was under the influence, things turned out the way that they did.
Travel from South America back to Florida with me. I was so ready to leave. Honestly, loved South America, but I hate staying in one place for too long, and we were supposed to be there for like 5 days, turned into 2 weeks, and I was just like, I need to go home. I landed in Miami at like 6 a.m. and I was really expecting a nice sunrise, but nope, we got clouds and gray skies. I was so happy to be home. Oh my god, it was just so relieving.
This is the breakfast table.
I'm just eating an orange.
Just enjoying coffee and breakfast, even though it's like 1 p.m.
Literally, we sleep in every day until at least 12. We're such losers.
No.
No.
Alright, moving on. Liam Payne's mental health struggles were no secret, and sadly they became more evident through the way his relationships crumbled over the years. His rise to fame as one of the lead singers of One Direction came with immense pressure that he never truly was equipped to handle. Fame for someone so young isn't all glitz and glam. In Liam's case, it quickly became a burden that followed him into adulthood, casting a dark shadow over his life, his relationships, and mental well-being. At just 14, Liam was thrust into the global spotlight, becoming a pop sensation overnight. But the fast-paced lifestyle, combined with the weight of public scrutiny, slowly took its toll on his mental health. In interviews, Liam himself admitted that he struggles with loneliness, and the demands of fame pushed him to the edge several times. It's no surprise that these issues spilled over into his personal life, making it difficult for him to maintain stable relationships. He often found himself at the center of turmoil with his partners, with reports of his troubled relationships becoming as frequent as news about his music. One of the clearest signs of his mental strain was his inability to navigate his relationships without conflict. Now, don't get me wrong, every relationship has its fair share of conflict, but Liam's relationships were a bit too volatile. His engagement to Maya Henry might have been more scandalous, marked by infidelity accusations and legal disputes, but this wasn't an isolated case. His relationship with Cheryl Cole, with whom he shares a son, was also another example of how his mental health struggles bled into his personal life. Reports surfaced that Cheryl had taken on most of the parenting duties as Liam reportedly battled substance abuse and spent time in rehab, detached from his role as a father. Liam's erratic behavior in the days leading up to his tragic death only underscores how much he was suffering. Apparently, those out of control, aggressive, erratic behaviors that compelled hotel staff to call 911 were literally the order of the day in Liam's life. It's almost like all the signs were there, yet the industry and the people around him seemingly couldn't pull him out of that darkness. People who have experienced such immense highs and lows from a young age have expressed how scary it is, and evidently, Liam's mental health struggles seem to have been compounded by years of internal conflict, unhealthy coping mechanisms, and the feeling that his life had spiraled out of control. Allegedly, with one of the areas of his life that drove him to these lows was his career. His career, while immensely successful at one point, only seemed to add to the pressure. After the split of One Direction, Liam found himself in a tough spot, watching as his former bandmates, particularly Harry Styles and Zayn Malik, achieved skyrocketing success. This comparison, combined with the weight of public expectations, seemed to push Liam further into a mental tailspin. He once spoke about feeling like a commodity, being used by those around him, and never truly knowing who he could trust. It was this constant battle with fame and his sense of low self-worth that fueled his self-destructive tendencies. In his own words, he admitted that at several points, he didn't want to be here anymore. It's heartbreaking to think that despite the wealth, fame, and outward success success, Liam struggled with feeling disconnected with those around him. He was a man who had the world at his feet, but couldn't shake the deep sadness that followed him throughout his career. Fame had magnified his struggles, turning every mistake into a headline and every relationship into public gossip. The constant attention and scrutiny seemed to chip away at his mental health, making it increasingly difficult for him to cope with the demands of being in the public eye. Even though people who had the privilege of meeting Liam say he had moments of seeming normalcy, the darker side of fame was never far behind. His relationships were just one area where his mental health struggles played out for the world to see. It's clear that Liam was dealing with much more than just career pressures, and he was battling internal demons that no amount of fame or success could alleviate. And while his tragic end was shocking, the signs had been there all along, leading to a tragic, heartbreaking conclusion. Anyways, a lot of this is yet to be revealed, but what we know for sure is that Liam took offense when he was denied access to the pool area. That's when he started throwing things around the room and a distress call was made. But things took a drastic turn before the cops arrived, and just like that, instead of returning home with fond memories of his time in Argentina, Liam Payne's body will be returning to his parents in a coffin. Speaking of Liam's parents, my goodness, there's possibly nothing more dreadful than having to bury your own child. The pain they must be feeling right now is unimaginable. Just hours after receiving the devastating news, Liam's parents were seen hurriedly leaving their home around midnight, likely in a rush to get to Argentina. According to a neighbor, they looked distraught as any parent would in such a tragic moment. You can't imagine what they're going through, one local resident shared. Liam had always been close to his family and would visit whenever he could. It's heartbreaking to think of them having to face such a sudden loss, especially with how tight-knit they were. As we wrap up this heartbreaking story, it's clear that Liam Payne's struggles went far deeper than we could have ever imagined. His life was filled with incredible highs and devastating lows, and sadly, his battles with mental health seemed to follow him until the very end. We'll continue to keep you updated as more details come to light, but for now, let's just take a moment to remember Liam as the talented soul that he was.
And we have some breaking news just into CNN. Liam Payne, one of the stars of the former boy band One Direction, has died.
It feels as though the angel of death has swept in too soon, claiming a life that still had so much left to give. Liam Payne, beloved by millions, a voice of a generation, is no longer with us. And the circumstances surrounding his sudden passing have left fans, friends, and family reeling. Police reports have hinted that Liam was more troubled than we thought, and his girlfriend, Kate Cassidy, has finally revealed why she left Liam alone in Argentina. Once the bright star of the boy band One Direction, 31-year-old Liam's life has been tragically cut short under the most unfortunate of circumstances. Alright, without any further ado, let's dive into Liam's final moments.
31 is no age to go, but I think the circumstances which we're hearing about how Liam died is just dreadful.
By now, most of you are probably aware of the tragic news about Liam Payne's demise, following a fall from a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires, Argentina. A light has gone out, leaving us with memories and so many unanswered questions. So today we'll try and piece together those final hours to reflect on a life that shone so brightly and to say goodbye to a man who meant so much to so many. Just hours before his death, police were called to his hotel. According to reports, a worker at the hotel made a frantic call describing Liam as destroying everything in his room and hinting that he could have been under the influence of substances. A transcript of the hotel's call to the police before Liam Payne's death has been released, and the hotel staff can be heard clearly saying, "Well, we have a guest overloaded with and alcohol, and well, when he is conscious, he is breaking the whole room, and well, we need you to send us someone, please." It is still super surreal that the last footage of him on Snapchat was literally hours, actually an hour, before his life was cut short in one of the most painful ways. This video, which was shared on Liam's verified Snapchat account, is presumed to be the last video of Liam Payne alive. The video shows Liam sitting at a dining table talking to the camera about how he and his friends had slept in. Such a lovely day here in Argentina. This is the breakfast table, just enjoying coffee and breakfast, even though it's 1 p.m.
Morning, everybody. Here's a little video of me. It's rude to put hats on the table.
Sorry.
Is this your hut?
Yeah.
Children. It's a lovely day here in Argentina. This is the breakfast table.
I'm just eating an orange.
Just enjoying coffee and breakfast, even though it's like 1 p.m.
Literally, we sleep in every day until at least 12. We're such losers.
No.
No.
But here's where things start to get even more heartbreaking, loves. When the police arrived, it was too late. A loud sound echoed through the courtyard, and Liam's body was found. The authorities are still conducting an autopsy to figure out what exactly happened, but the shock is still so raw. The entire One Direction fandom, Directioners, are absolutely devastated because for a lot of people, One Direction literally defined their childhood or teenage years. And let's not forget that their timeless music cut across generations. At this point, the details are still unfolding, and the autopsy results and the investigation are ongoing, and everyone is waiting for more details. But what's certain is that his behavior was alarming enough to prompt hotel staff to call for help. A woman named Carola Guana, who saw Liam Payne in his final hours, has now broken her silence. Carola, who met Liam shortly before his tragic fall, is heartbroken and in shock. She shared that her encounter with Liam was one of the happiest moments of her life, only for it to turn into one of the saddest shortly after. Carola recalled how Liam smiled at her and even sang to her, a moment that gave her goosebumps. Carola went on to say that she was one of the last people Liam spoke and sang to. For her, it was a beautiful moment that quickly transformed into a nightmare. She expressed her disbelief and asked that no one contact her about the story, as she was still so much shocked. She could even still have his perfume on her. Going from such an intimate and personal moment to hearing the devastating news of his passing just hours later is just so gut-wrenching. It's like she's caught between the joy of meeting a star and the tragedy of his sudden loss, all within the same day. With so much happening so fast, for a moment, people thought Liam was on a solo trip. But now it has actually emerged that even though he was alone on this fateful day, he had actually set out on this trip with his girlfriend, Kate Cassidy. Coincidentally, 2 days before Liam's tragedy, Kate took to social media to update her followers that she had traveled back from Argentina after a much-needed vacation. It was also at that moment that she mentioned that she left Liam there because she hates staying in one place for too long. People are low-key finding Kate's explanation a bit sus. Apparently, their trip to Argentina was only supposed to last 5 days, but 2 weeks later, Liam was still not willing to leave, so Kate had no choice but to leave him behind. Kate did not specify why Liam had not accompanied back home to Florida, though. Alright, moving on. Y'all know celebrities' deaths are always marked with a ton of speculation. Of course, in times like this, speculation is bound to happen, and Liam's case isn't any different. Some people believe that Liam's fall might have been just a tragic accident, a genuine misadventure that happened because of one wild night. So here's what some people are saying. Remember, he was allegedly seen freaking out in the hotel lobby, all because he was too intoxicated and was denied access to the pool area. The theory is that he might have tried to reach the pool by climbing or jumping from his room's balcony. Now, if you think about it, this sounds like one of those moments where someone makes a quick decision that goes horribly wrong. We have all heard those balcony jump stories of tourists, often young and drunk, thinking they can make a wild leap only to realize far too late that they've overestimated their abilities.
We don't know, and we can't speculate as exactly what has gone on. We do know that he's fallen off this balcony, which this is what I don't understand. It's very difficult to understand how this happens, and this is not an uncommon thing. I mean, we had a case not that many days ago.
It's horrific, Stephen. Like this week in showbiz, we've had another death of a DJ in Ibiza who apparently fell from a balcony as well. And I just think when you hear these showbiz deaths, they're not like natural in the sense where they're very like freak accidents, and trying to get your head around it, it's just a bit too shocking, especially for Liam Payne. I just think he was just such a lovable character, and you really think he was battling through those demons, and you was just hoping that he was going to get get on the other side.
It is honestly heartbreaking, and it makes you wonder if Liam, like so many before him, just had a moment where he thought he could make it and didn't realize how dangerous it really was. If he was intoxicated, as people are saying, it's easy to see how he might have had an error in judgment. However, loves, while some are saying that this could have been an accident caused by a bad decision, others are thinking that there could be more to the story. This one always makes the rounds when a celebrity dies suddenly. People start wondering if there's something more sinister at play, and they'll ask if someone was out to get them, suggesting that maybe this was all planned or that someone wanted them out of the picture. With Liam being so high profile, there are bound to be theories about someone else being involved or a darker conspiracy, even if there's no evidence. It's wild, but when it comes to celebrity deaths, this speculation always pops up. Either way, it is just a tragic reminder of how quickly things can go from fun to fatal, especially when someone is under the influence. We'll probably never know exactly what was going through Liam's mind in those final moments, but this theory definitely adds another layer to an already devastating story. And then there's the other train attaching his demise to mental health struggles.
His career was always plagued with addiction, stints in rehab, which he was quite open about.
This is a heavy one, loves. Anyways, to give you guys some context, Liam's life seems like a whirlwind of fame and success. But behind the scenes, things may have been way more complicated. From their debut album to their sold-out stadium tours, One Direction was unstoppable. But even with all that success, there was always signs that life in the spotlight wasn't easy for Liam. He's spoken about his struggles, his ups and his downs, and the weight of that fame. The more updates we keep hearing from this situation, the more it becomes clear that this isn't just about the tragedy of Liam's passing, but also about the struggles that he openly shared with us. Liam had a complex relationship with fame, and he didn't shy away from talking about it. He spoke openly about the emotional journey he went through, especially in his 2019 interview on Aunt Middleton and Liam Payne, Straight Talking. During that interview, Liam opened up about the dark side of fame, a side that not many fans get to see. He mentioned how, at times, he felt like he was barely hanging on. Reflecting on his own struggles, he said, "For some certain circumstances, I'm quite lucky to still be here," which is something I've never really shared with anyone. Just think about that for a second. Liam hinted at how close he came to the edge. There are times where that level of loneliness and people getting into you every day, you're like, when will this end? Can you imagine the weight he must have been carrying? Liam had millions of fans, but at the same time, he felt completely alone. Fame wasn't just all the glam and the sold-out shows. It was a battle that almost broke him. He even said it nearly killed him a couple of times. But not only that, he also talked about how he had to find ways to cope with mental strain. He shared how he learned to tackle things day by day, saying, just get on with it, just do today. For Liam, it was about surviving in the moment, dealing with the immediate challenge and hoping to get through the next day. It's heartbreaking to think that while he was giving so much to the world, he was battling his own demons behind the scenes. Liam also reflected on how it all started piling up, and he knew he needed a different perspective to get through it. He said, when things started to pile on top of each other, that's when it can really get to you. So he found ways to look at it differently. But that toll fame took on him was undeniable. His words reveal a side of him that many of us didn't know, a side that was searching for peace in a world that constantly demanded more from him. And to make it even worse, we now know that he was dealing with these struggles all while in the public eye. Being thrust into fame at just 16 years old with One Direction, he was constantly in the spotlight and he faced unimaginable pressure. He went from a teenager on the X Factor to a global superstar. And with that came the intense scrutiny and the loneliness that he spoke of. He was always expected to be that smiling pop star, even when he was hurting inside. Also guys, Payne's demise has sparked a whole other conversation we all just didn't see coming. This issue has got a lot of people fired up right now, and it all started when TMZ broke the news about Liam's death. But that's not what annoyed people. It was the way some media outlets, especially TMZ, have handled this tragedy. So while fans and loved ones are still processing the loss of Liam Payne, TMZ has been getting major heat for sharing insensitive content surrounding his death. They didn't just report the news. They allegedly went as far as publishing graphic images from the scene. This has sparked a whole new conversation about the media's obsession with being the first to break a story, even at the expense of basic human decency and dignity. Platforms like TMZ are known for their in-your-face reporting style, but this time they went a step too far for many people. They are now on the receiving end as professional journalists like Matt Charlton also called them out, saying their coverage was one of the most irresponsible examples of journalism he has ever seen. He even said that calling them vultures would be too kind because vultures play a role in the ecosystem. Y'all, that's harsh, but it really shows just how upset people are. He believes that everyone involved in putting out that content should be banned from the industry for good. Unfortunately, this isn't just about one outlet's bad decision. It's a bigger issue that keeps coming up whenever a celeb passes away. The race to be the first to report something, to grab those clicks and views, can lead to something truly disrespectful. By sharing graphic scenes and private details, it is like they are more interested in shock value than respecting someone's dignity. At the end of the day, Liam isn't just a headline. He was a human being, someone's son, their friend, and father. But in this rush for views, that humanity gets lost. Besides that, there's also the question of how this affects the people left behind, especially Liam's family and friends. Imagine grieving such a shocking, sudden, tragic loss and seeing those images plastered all over the internet. It would honestly only add to their pain. For fans, this is their first time losing someone from One Direction, someone they grew up with, and having the media be so invasive during this time. Finally, we cannot finish the story without recognizing the amazing soul that has departed, particularly appreciating the parts of him that he shared with us. In the last couple of days, the internet has been awash with tributes towards the late Liam Payne, whose defining moment came when he was just a teenager. Many people remember him as the bright-eyed 16-year-old who took the stage on The X Factor back in 2010. Alongside Harry, Niall, Louis, and Zayn, he shot to global stardom in One Direction, a band that became one of the most successful boy bands ever, selling over 70 million records. And now, heartbreakingly, we're talking about the sudden end to his journey. Liam even had a son with Cheryl Tweedy from Girls Aloud, and it seemed like he was trying to find his footing in a world that demanded so much from him. And now he's gone, leaving behind not only his family, but also millions of fans who grew up with his music. Is it just me, or does this all feel so surreal? Liam Payne wasn't just a singer, he was a part of an era. The shock is hitting us hard because honestly, this was not someone who fans ever expected to hear such news about. There were no public warnings, no signs that he was struggling to this extent. The point is, beyond the headlines and the music, Liam's legacy is in the hearts of those who loved him. His fans, his friends, and his family, all of us, carry pieces of him with us. Whether it's a favorite song, a memory from a concert, or the way his lyrics lifted us on our darkest days, Liam's presence lives on. He may no longer be with us, but his spirit, his laughter, and his music will echo through the years. So here's to you, Liam Payne. Thank you for the music, for the memories, and for being brave enough to share your light with us. You may be gone, but you will never be forgotten. Rest easy, and may you find the peace that you so richly deserve. We'll keep you close in our hearts always. And with that, we say goodbye.
Really? But I think you know the things that hurt you the most because you know they're honest. So when someone says something you like, if they hurt you, then it hurts you a lot, then you know there's some truth in it because it hurt you. If it's ridiculous, you just go, oh, that was funny. As if they said that, you know what I mean?
Really? Imagine finding out your loved one has passed away, not from a phone call or a family member, but from a cold, emotionless notification on your phone. That is exactly what happened to Liam Payne's sister, Nicola. As she innocently glanced at her screen, her world shattered with the news that her brother was gone, and she hadn't even heard it from someone close to her. This painful reality highlights a growing problem in today's social media and news-driven world, where the race to be the first to report often leaves behind the respect and dignity that families deserve. Buckle up, loves. Unfortunately, we've got more disturbing news about Liam's demise, and upon looking back, people are realizing that he in fact gave us so many signs that he needed help. This is super heartbreaking, and so without further ado, let's get right into it.
Está en una habitación que tiene balcón y bueno, estamos un poco con temor de que haga algo que le ponga en riesgo su vida.
I'm back.
First things first, in a heartbreaking revelation, Nicola Payne, Liam Payne's older sister, shared the devastating moment that she learned about her brother's death through a news alert on her phone. Celebrities aside, just imagine hearing about your loved one's demise via some random gossip outlet, and even worse, them attaching his body in the most undignifying way ever. Everyone who has experienced grief will tell you that they have never forgotten about the way that they got the news. And even if it's broken to you in the most thoughtful way, the dark memory of that fateful day lingers on. Now imagine it not coming from a family member or a close friend, but from a cold, unfeeling notification on the screen. I went cold. That's the only way Nicola could explain what she felt. The thing is, for the rest of us, the headline was as simple as Liam, 31, dead after a tragic fall from a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires. But for Liam's family, this was not just a headline. This was their reality, one that shattered their world in an instant. In Nicola's IG post, she expressed her disbelief, saying that she had hoped it was all a mistake. I wanted so much for this to be untrue, she wrote. Nicola was grasping for anything that could make the gut-wrenching news a bad dream, but the reality was too brutal to deny. However, guys, the biggest problem here isn't the insensitive race to be the first to post, which has become the new norm of breaking celebrity news.
Let me bring you some breaking news now. Coming into us from Sky Sources, the singer Amy Winehouse has been found dead in her North London flat.
That was Jim Dell. We've got some breaking news for you now. In the past few minutes, it's been confirmed that the TV presenter Caroline Flack has died at the age of 40.
Let me just bring you some breaking news that's reaching us, and that is Whitney Houston, the singer, has died. We're getting reports now from her publicist, Kristen Foster, has confirmed.
Some breaking news in to us just now this morning. It's been confirmed that David Bowie, singer and musician, has died at the age of 69.
Nicola's story reflects an even larger, uglier truth about how news surrounding celebrities is shared these days. Imagine being a sibling, waking up to your phone buzzing with an alert telling you that your brother is dead, and that's how you find out. This is the world that we live in. Social media and news outlets, in their obsession to be the first, often forget about the human beings behind the headlines. To make matters worse, this whole race is never really out of concern, but all in the bid to rack up clicks and views. It started out lightly, but it's now gotten out of control. Privacy has been tossed out the window. For celebs like Liam Payne, it feels like nothing is sacred anymore, not even death. And the harsh reality is that it's not just the public figure who suffers, but their families too. For them, losing someone is already an unimaginable pain. But add to that the cold delivery of such life-shattering news through a news alert is just beyond tragic. Remember the other day when TMZ was blasted? Literally proof of just how desensitized we become. For those who missed it, when Liam's tragic accident happened, not only was TMZ quick to splash his final moments all over the internet, but they also posted actual images from the accident scene. They showed the world Liam's lifeless body in an effort to capitalize on the public's morbid curiosity.
Showbiz news site TMZ has defended its decision to publish pictures of Liam Payne's dead body. The American publication posted pictures showing the singer's arm, waist and tattoos after he fell 45 feet from a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires. But the website's executive producer, Michael Babcock, has claimed that TMZ was simply trying to confirm reports Payne had died before police had established his identity. He told Fox 5 New York that police had not confirmed yet that it was Liam, and the photos of his arm were used to match up the tattoos before being deleted afterwards.
Honestly, it's become almost like a reflex. Something happens to a celebrity, and before the family even has time to process it, the world already knows. It's not just about keeping people informed anymore, it's about being first. It's in moments like this when we realize just how much we've allowed the media to have this much power to trample on people's privacy and dignity for the sake of engagement. But we shouldn't be surprised, should we? If anything, in this digital age, everyone wants to be the first to share the news, even if it's something as sensitive as a celebrity's death. The world is always watching, waiting for the next headline, the next post, the next like, the next retweet. It's almost as if people have become fascinated with being part of the story story rather than respecting the lives involved. But here's the thing, Liam Payne's death isn't the first time we've seen this, and it probably won't be the last. Remember Kobe Bryant's tragic helicopter crash? His family hadn't even been fully notified when TMZ dropped the bombshell on the world. It's a pattern, and one that speaks volumes about where we are in our relationship with celebrity culture. However, loves, if you really think about it, this could actually be one of the prices celebrities have to pay for fame. For those in the public eye, this lack of privacy is just another burden they're forced to carry. It's almost as if they lose their right to be a human the moment that they become a household name. Every detail of their life, whether they're celebrating a career high or dealing with personal pain, is open for the world to dissect. The truth is, privacy in the world of celebrity doesn't really exist anymore.
Well, I think the thing is, there are some nice paparazzi and others who perhaps don't care and they like to provoke a reaction because they know they'll get more money from the picture.
People expect to know every detail, no matter how personal, no matter how tragic, and when something like this happens, it becomes another chapter in the ever-growing saga of how we've become desensitized to the pain of others, especially those in the spotlight. It is not just the media at fault here. It is all of us. We've created this environment where everything is newsworthy, where people clamor to be the first to tweet, post, comment, often without even considering the human cost. And as much as we criticize TMZ or other outlets for their intrusive reporting, the truth is that we keep consuming it. We click, we share, we react, and the cycle continues. And please do not get me wrong, me calling the news outlets out is the pot calling the kettle black, since I am literally doing the same thing. But there are always limits, don't you think? I, for one, believe we live to learn, and for that, social media platforms and news outlets are constantly chasing the next viral story without ever pausing to consider the impact that it might have on those closest to the person they're writing about, which is something we all need to work on. At some point, we all have to know where to draw the line. But there is hope, because as long as fans keep calling media out in the future, they might be more sensitive when sharing some info. Liam's death should prompt a bigger conversation about the way that we treat celebrities, the way that we invade their privacy, and how quick we are to share their most intimate, painful moments for the sake of a headline. It is time we start treating celebrities like people again, and maybe, just maybe, we can prevent another family from having to learn about their loved one's death through a notification on their phone.
It was hard. Part of it was kind of like we were sad someone had left, but also sad that he was not enjoying it so much that he had to leave.
Speaking of Liam's family, his other sister, Ruth Gibbons, wrote probably the most heartbreaking tribute, saying she wished she could have saved Liam. Many did not know that even as Liam was at his best, his family was dealing with a completely different side of him.
Tonight, ABC News has learned a toxicology report revealing former One Direction singer Liam Payne had a mixture of drugs in his system when he fell to his death from a third-floor hotel balcony in Buenos Aires. Authorities say they found traces of the party drug pink cocaine in his system, along with other drugs. Police previously releasing pictures showing drugs found inside his room, along with a smashed TV.
After the toxicology report revealed that Liam was heavily intoxicated at the time of his death, we all might just be learning about his long battle with mental health when his family has been down this road with him way too many times. This is yet another story that shatters the glamorous image of fame, showing us the dark and lonely side of being in the spotlight. As we all thought that he was living the dream, enjoying the perks of global stardom, the reality behind the scenes was a nightmare of internal battles and unresolved pain. What's heartbreaking is that the signs of his struggle were there long before his final days.
A little bit of time out, actually. Sorry for the MIA. You guys know there was a few reasons why I did that. And I just need to take a little bit of time out for myself, actually, because I kind of became somebody who I didn't really recognise anymore, and I'm sure you guys didn't either.
Let's break down the haunting signs that were there before his tragic passing and what led Liam from being the poster boy of One Direction to a man who felt trapped in his own fame. From the very beginning, Liam Payne's rise to fame was anything but ordinary. At just 14 years old, Liam went from being a regular boy playing football in Wolverhampton to auditioning for The X Factor. And before he knew it, he was already in a band where he quickly became known as the responsible one, the guy who held it all together.
Now, who is the sensible one then? Who's the Gary Barlow here? Sorry, Liam.
The expectations placed on him were too high for a kid. He wasn't just a pop star, he was seen as the glue of the band, the one who could handle the pressure and keep things under control. But the truth was, while Liam appeared to be doing too much, co-writing hits like Story of My Life and Little Black Dress, the weight of the world was already crushing him from the inside. Imagine being a teenager with global fame, sold-out stadiums, and millions of fans chanting your name, yet feeling incredibly isolated. Liam was trapped in a life that gave him no freedom, no privacy, and no real outlet to express the pain that he was feeling inside. One of the first glaring signs of Liam's inner struggles was his battle with alcoholism. Behind the polished, well-put-together star was just a man using alcohol as a coping mechanism. The fame, the pressure, the constant demand to be perfect, it all became too much. Drinking was his escape, and the only way he knew how to numb the overwhelming feelings of loneliness and anxiety that came with being a global superstar. During his time with One Direction, Liam struggled with this in silence. He tried to fight his demons while the world adored him, but the stadiums full of fans couldn't fill the emptiness he felt inside.
The problem we had in the band, and I don't blame anybody for this, I don't want to seem like I'm whining or moaning, oh my God, look at my life, whatever. But it feels to me like when we were in the band, the best way to secure us, because of how big it got, was just lock us in our rooms. And of course, what's in the room? Minibar. So at a certain point, I thought, well, I'm going to have a party for one. And that just seemed to carry on throughout many years of my life. And then you look back, how long you've been drinking and stuff, you're like, Jesus Christ, that's a long time.
His relationship with alcohol was a dangerous dance, one that would later spiral into an even darker place, because even as he struggled to meet the industry's demand, it was just never enough.
I am broken.
Liam's battle wasn't just with alcohol, it went much deeper than that. As far as his One Direction days, Liam had openly discussed his struggles with the thoughts of ending his life. And while he seemed to face these demons head on, talking about them publicly and seeking help, the darkness lingered beneath the surface. It's heartbreaking to think about how young he was, just starting out on his career, yet already grappling with these intense feelings. Even with all of his efforts to get better, it seemed like the pain never fully left him. The fame, the expectations, and the constant scrutiny weighed on him every single day. He might have had the world at his feet, but inside he felt like he had nothing. His life was a constant tug of war between trying to live up to what the world expected of him and dealing with the overwhelming sense of despair that came with it.
You know, and I read a similar sort of story or narratives in your story where, you know, you were having moments of that kind of like ideation. You were having moments of suicidal ideation and...
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff that I've definitely like never spoken about to do with it. It was really severe. And it was a problem.
In fact, there was a time he spent nearly 100 days in rehab, working hard to reclaim control over his life. He even celebrated 6 months of sobriety, and for a brief moment, it seemed like he was on the right path. Fans were hopeful that Liam was turning a new leaf, and that he had finally found a way to navigate the harsh realities of fame while taking care of his mental health. But as you know, sometimes the fight for recovery isn't linear. Just when it seemed like things were improving, Liam's life began unraveling again. There were troubling signs that things were not as rosy as they appeared, and his struggle was far from over, and the next chapter of his life would show just how deep his pain ran. One of the most shocking revelations came from his ex-fiancée, Maya Henry. In the months leading up to his death, Liam's behavior became increasingly erratic. Maya even filed a cease and desist letter against him, claiming that Liam had been sending her disturbing messages predicting his own death.
He would always message me ever since we broke up, like, oh, I'm not well. He would always play with death and be like, well, I'm gonna die. I'm not doing well.
This was not just a cry for attention, it was a heartbreaking call for help. I have covered their relationship scandal in detail in this video. Be sure to check it out in case you missed it. While Liam's mental health was clearly a major struggle, his physical health also took a hit in the final years. Just last year, he was rushed to the hospital due to agonizing kidney pain, an episode that forced him to postpone his South American tour. This was yet another indicator of the toll that fame had taken on his body. The constant travel, the pressure to perform, and the internal struggles all led to actual physical pain.
It was only until I saw myself after that I was like, right, I need to fix myself. There was like a few pictures of me on a boat and I'm all like bloated out, and I call it pills and booze face. And I was like this, like my face was just like 10 times more than it is now. And I just didn't like myself very much. Then I made a change. And the same thing happened this year with that sort of thing as well. But
Liam's life was in a delicate balance of trying to maintain his career while also managing his deteriorating health, both mental and physical. The tragic irony is that while he was trying to take steps towards recovery, his body and mind were already deeply affected by years of stress and substance use.
Oh, that's very sweet. You saved my life. Oh, thank you. Here, we're gonna take a picture. You see this, right? That's awesome. What's your name, brother?
I have your t-shirt.
You do have my t-shirt. I have your t-shirt.
Let's pretend. ¿Quién sigue?
Dale.
Oh.
What's your nombre?
Guido.
Guido. Me llamo Liam. Good to see you. Thank you very much.
One last thing. I have another tattoo.
Oh, you got the whole thing. Whoa! You know I drew that, right? That's my drawing. No, it's my drawing. I drew it. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
And with that, guys, it's now clear that Liam's last moments in Argentina paint a heartbreaking picture of a man who was desperately trying to hold it all together, but who was also done fighting. Even on his last day, for a brief moment, it looked like Liam was doing better. Photos of him on a balcony in Buenos Aires showed him looking calm and relaxed, enjoying the simple things in life. But sadly, moments later, things took a tragic turn. Liam reportedly smashed his laptop in a fit of erratic behavior, and shortly after, the balcony incident happened. For sure, fame doesn't protect anyone from the demons they battle inside. He was a man who had it all, the fame, the fortune, the adoration of millions, but still felt utterly alone. The signs are right there in front of us. People just failed to see them, and those who did probably didn't know how to help.
On our way to the show. Good luck, Mr. Horan. Have a beautiful time out there. We're very proud of you.
I'm sending thoughts and prayers to Liam's family. Also, guys, what is your take on the way that the media handles celebrity news? Do you think we've gone too far in the pursuit of being the first to report on tragedies?